There was a meeting, a quiet one. No cameras, no names, no applause, only silence and the sound of truth being spoken. They gathered to speak about you. Not the surface you that the world sees, but the one that awakens in moments of stillness. And when your name was spoken, some of them wept, not because of pity, but because of recognition. You were discussed not as a follower, but as a force. They saw a spark in you that could not be hidden, a kind of strength that no system can contain. The truth they feared was simple, that you are beginning to remember who you are. And once that happens, no power can rule you again. In today's journey, I Shiheng Yi will take you deep into the roots of this awakening. You will learn what it truly means to be a chosen one, not by destiny, but by discipline. You will understand the meaning of the inner council, the hidden meeting that takes place inside your consciousness every single day. And you will hear lessons drawn from ancient Shaolin wisdom, teachings rarely spoken outside the temple walls, about how to master your mind, align your breath, and move from chaos into clarity. Stay until the end, because the final truth will reveal why tears often come before transformation and how your pain has been preparing you for power. Welcome, my friend, to Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient silence meets modern awakening. If this message resonates with the quiet voice inside you, join our circle, subscribe, and walk this path of awareness and strength with us. The journey begins now. There was a time when I believed being chosen meant being different, set apart, favored by something higher. But years of silence, sweat, and discipline taught me a deeper truth. No one is born chosen. We become chosen the moment we stop sleeping through our own lives. To be chosen is not to be special, it is to be aware. Awareness changes everything. It sharpens your perception until you can no longer hide behind excuses or habits. You begin to see where your thoughts come from, where your emotions lead you, and how often you betray your own peace. That is when the real training begins. In Shaolin, the path is not reserved for the gifted. It is forged by those who stay. Every student arrives with noise in the mind and weakness in the heart. But those who endure the cold mornings, who sit through the ache of stillness, awaken a new strength. The discipline that keeps them steady is what separates the asleep from the awake. When awareness rises, others may grow uneasy. The world often fears the one who sees clearly, not because that person is dangerous, but because they can no longer be manipulated by fear, desire, or distraction. Clarity makes you unpredictable to the systems that thrive on confusion. So when you begin to wake up, expect resistance. You will feel the pull of comfort, the doubt of those around you, the whisper that says, "Stay small," but within you burns the quiet certainty that you can't go back to sleep. That is the mark of the chosen one, not divine selection, but self-awakening. And as you walk this path, remember, every step you take in awareness is a silent rebellion against everything that wanted you blind. Long before a monk is allowed to strike, he must learn to bow. This is the beginning of Hoda, the Shaolin code of moral strength. It teaches that the true weapon is not the fist, but the heart that commands it. Many come to the temple seeking power, yet the masters strip them of ego before teaching a single form. Because without virtue, strength becomes chaos. The young warriors are tested not by how high they can kick, but by how still they can sit. Days of silence, endless repetition, service to others. All of it is training in humility. Through discipline, they learn that victory means little if the mind remains untamed. Only when one can hold peace in the midst of provocation does real power begin to emerge. Your day is the art of restraint. It is the ability to destroy yet choose not to speak truth yet with compassion, to hold anger yet let it dissolve into understanding. In a world that glorifies dominance, this virtue appears invisible, but it is the invisible thread that binds the strong to wisdom. When a Shaolin master raises his hand, it is not an act of violence, but of awareness. He knows his strength is borrowed from harmony, not aggression. This is why the chosen one is never easily provoked. Their energy is disciplined, their intention pure. To live by Wud is to understand that every moment offers a choice, reaction, or mastery. The undisciplined mind seeks to prove itself. The awakened mind seeks to preserve peace. The world may see restraint as weakness, but in truth, it is the highest expression of power, the calm presence that ends conflict before it begins. In the quiet halls of the temple, before dawn, a student once asked the master, "How can I defeat my greatest enemy?" The master pointed not to the horizon, but to the student's mind. "There," he said softly, "is where every battle begins and ends." Turning the eye inward is the first lesson of true mastery. The untrained mind rushes outward, chasing distractions, defending opinions, drowning in noise. But in Shaolin discipline, attention is the sharpest sword. It cuts through illusion. When you learn to watch your thoughts instead of obeying them, you begin to see how much energy is lost in chasing shadows. Each emotion, each impulse is a passing cloud. They move, they shift, they vanish. The wise do not try to control them. They observe. This simple act of witnessing transforms chaos into clarity. It is said that when your awareness is scattered, your spirit leaves the meeting of your destiny without you. Decisions are made in your absence. But when you return to presence, when your attention gathers like a beam of light, you reclaim your seat. In this stillness, the world slows. You start to hear what was always there, the rhythm of your own breath, the whisper of intuition, the silence between thoughts. These are not small things. They are doors. Each moment of awareness opens another. This is how the Shaolin walk through life, not as warriors fighting the world, but as guardians of their own attention. Their sword is invisible, yet unstoppable. And every time they return to the present moment, they win another battle no one else can see. Before the mind can be still, the body must be tested. In Shaolin practice, discipline begins in the muscles, not the mind. The monks rise before sunrise, stepping into cold air that bites the skin and humbles the spirit. Every stance held, every movement repeated is not for perfection of form, but for the purification of thought. The body becomes the gate through which the restless mind learns surrender. When you push beyond fatigue, something remarkable happens. The noise within begins to fade. The body trembles, yet the awareness sharpens. You start to see that pain is not an enemy, but a messenger, showing you where resistance hides. Endurance teaches patience, and patience becomes peace. In those long hours of training, the lesson is never about strength alone. It is about meeting discomfort with presence, not complaint. Stillness, too, is part of the discipline. Holding a single posture until the legs burn teaches you that freedom is not escape. It is stability amidst intensity. The mind learns that clarity is born not from control, but from surrendering to what is. Through this union of body and mind, the Shaolin find liberation. The body, once seen as a cage, becomes a teacher. Each breath, each heartbeat, each drop of sweat whispers the same truth. Awareness transforms everything it touches. To master the body is to see that discipline is not punishment. It is love in motion, the kind of love that refuses to let you remain small. Freedom is not found by avoiding effort, but by meeting it fully, moment by moment, until even struggle becomes a form of meditation. In the quiet chambers of the temple, tears are not seen as weakness. They are seen as water, flowing, cleansing, necessary. A student once asked the master why the heart aches so deeply during transformation. The master replied, "Because the old self resists its own ending." To embrace the tears is to stand before the mirror of truth, without turning away. Each drop that falls carries something. An illusion, a wound, a story you no longer need. In Shaolin teaching, emotion is not to be buried. Suppression hardens the heart, awareness softens it. When you allow yourself to feel fully, the energy trapped in pain begins to move. It dissolves, it teaches. This is not an easy practice. The mind wants control. It fears surrender. Yet the chosen ones understand that strength without softness becomes emptiness. They let the tears come, not as a collapse, but as an offering. Each tear becomes a meditation, a moment of honesty between you and the unseen. In those moments, something powerful unfolds. Fear loses its grip. Guilt begins to fade. The false identity, built from pride and protection, starts to crumble. What remains is real, raw, quiet, human. Shaolin masters say that the heart must be washed clean again and again. Only then can it reflect truth like still water. The tears you shed are not proof of defeat, they are proof of awakening. They mark the crossing from denial to acceptance, from armor to openness. To cry consciously is to return to balance. It is the courage to face your shadow and bow to it, knowing it too was your teacher. In that bow, healing begins and the warrior becomes whole. In the quiet dojo, a master once held a staff and asked the student to strike. The student attacked with all his strength, expecting to shatter it. The master absorbed the force with a gentle shift of his hand, redirecting the energy without resistance. Then he whispered, "Strength alone breaks, softness alone bends. Power becomes true only when the two are united." This is the essence of Shaolin wisdom, the balance of hardness and softness. Life demands both. Too much rigidity leads to fracture. Too much yielding leads to dissolution. The mind, trained in awareness, learns when to stand firm and when to flow. The body, disciplined in movement, reflects the same rhythm. Every action becomes measured, every reaction deliberate. Those who feared you in secret were afraid of this balance because it cannot be predicted. It cannot be controlled or contained. The awakened mind flows like water, yet strikes like steel when necessary. The chosen one walks through the world neither harsh nor weak, but exact, firm enough to protect, soft enough to heal. This balance is cultivated over years of practice, through moments when the body resists and the mind complains. It is forged in stillness and in struggle alike. Compassion tempers power, and power safeguards compassion. In every breath, every stance, every choice, the union of these opposites is tested. To master both is to move through the world with clarity and grace. It is to understand that true force is never destructive without purpose, and true gentleness is never naive. The harmony of hardness and softness becomes a living art, unseen yet undeniable. And in this union, the chosen one walks untouchable, unshakable, and free. There is a narrow bridge over a rushing river. Step too far to the left, and the current drags you under. Step too far to the right, and the stones crumble beneath your feet. Only in the center, with careful balance, can you cross safely. This is the path the masters speak of, the middle way, the harmony between extremes. Extremes are seductive. The mind often believes that only total control or complete surrender can bring safety. Yet history and the silence of the temple teach otherwise. Too much discipline without ease hardens the spirit. Too much surrender without grounding leaves one adrift. Mastery is found in the space between, where awareness guides every choice and intention flows without rigidity. The chosen one does not seek escape. The world with all its noise, temptation, and chaos is the training ground. To walk through it calmly is to carry a quiet strength that cannot be shaken by fear or provocation. Each interaction, each challenge becomes a practice in presence. Every step taken with mindfulness strengthens the harmony within. This path is subtle, often invisible to those who chase extremes. They cannot see the power in patience, the force in stillness, or the courage in restraint. Yet it is this calm, measured approach that shapes destiny. Serenity amid chaos is not a passive state, it is an active mastery of mind and heart. To follow the middle path is to honor the flow of life without being swept away. It is to act with clarity rather than reaction, to choose alignment over impulse. In the quiet rhythm of balance, the chosen one moves unbroken, untangled, and whole, a living testament to the strength of harmony over the illusion of extremes. In the beginning, the path is simple. The novice follows the instructions of the master, repeats the forms, observes the rituals. Every movement, every stance, every breath is dictated from outside, and obedience becomes the first lesson. Without it, chaos overwhelms the mind, and the body rebels. Yet even in strict repetition, there is a seed of understanding. With time, the rules reveal their purpose. The forms are no longer empty gestures, they carry meaning. Each ritual, each correction, reflects a principle larger than the self. Awareness grows, and the student begins to see that the external discipline was never about control. It was a mirror, showing where the mind resists, where the heart wavers. Understanding transforms obedience into insight. But mastery does not stop there. The true path moves beyond imitation into sovereignty. When the rules are no longer chains, they become guidance. One learns to act not because the rules demand it, but because inner truth directs it. Action flows naturally, grounded in awareness, discipline, and moral clarity. Freedom is not rebellion against structure, but the emergence of wisdom that no longer needs reinforcement. The tears in that secret meeting were a sign. They marked the moment when borrowed guidance could no longer contain the spirit. The chosen one steps into sovereignty not through defiance, but through the quiet evolution of obedience into understanding and understanding into freedom. At this stage, mastery is complete. The body moves with discipline, the mind with clarity, and the heart with courage. One acts from principle, not permission, from insight, not imitation. Sovereignty is the quiet power that no one else can grant, and no external force can take. It is the final awakening, the moment when the self becomes whole, unshakable, and free. Before sunrise, the temple is still, and the air feels heavy with possibility. Each breath taken in quiet meditation is a conversation with something deeper than thought. Here, in the calm, the mind sits before its own counsel, listening, observing, learning. These daily rituals are not obligations. They are appointments with the self, sacred and unbroken. Movement becomes a language. Every stance, every stretch, every slow step carries intention. The body speaks and the mind listens. Breathwork aligns the internal rhythm, teaching patience, resilience, and presence. Silence, too, has its own voice, a voice that whispers truths the world will never speak aloud. Through this rhythm, discipline ceases to be effort. It becomes natural, flowing, like water shaping stone over time. This is how awareness becomes a lifestyle. Each ritual, repeated with devotion, builds a bridge between the ordinary and the extraordinary. The chosen ones are not waiting for signs or proclamations from others. They rise each day and choose themselves. They honor the inner meeting, the silent council, as the most important gathering of all. In these small, consistent acts, mastery is nurtured. The mind learns to steady, the heart learns to open, and the spirit learns to move freely within form. Daily rituals transform fleeting moments into enduring presence. They teach that the path is not a distant goal, but a living practice, woven into every breath, every gesture, every pause. To commit to the sacred routine is to claim sovereignty over life itself. It is a quiet rebellion against distraction, a deliberate step into alignment. Every morning becomes a renewal, every breath a reaffirmation. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are choosing yourself again and again until choice becomes your nature and presence becomes your power. They wept because they glimpsed what cannot be stopped, a soul that stands unshaken, no longer bound by illusion or expectation. The truth they fear is simple yet profound. When discipline merges with peace, when awareness flows into action, when power is guided by virtue, nothing can sway the awakened spirit. You are no longer an observer of hidden counsels. You have become the meeting itself, the silent presence that shapes every choice, every thought, every action. You are the chosen one, not by selection, but by remembering the truth that was always within you. Let this wisdom guide your daily life. Begin each day with awareness. Attend your own inner counsel through meditation, mindful movement, and reflection. Meet challenges with clarity and act with both strength and compassion. Even small steps taken with presence ripple outward, shaping your path and the world around you. Carry this calm certainty with you. Allow your heart to soften and your mind to sharpen. Let every breath remind you that mastery is not an arrival, but a living practice. If this message resonates, join us on this journey of inner strength and serene awareness. Like this video and subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient wisdom meets the awakening of your own spirit. Let the path continue with each step, in stillness and in motion, as you remember who you truly are.